10 Best Isekai Protagonists in Anime. With the worldwide success of Sword Art Online and more recent titles in the same vein, the isekai genre is going to stick around for quite a while. Writers in this saturated genre have more pressure to craft distinct characters and compelling, refreshing stories to stand out among the crowd each season. Granted, not all isekai shows are worth your attention, but more than a few have introduced anime fans to noteworthy main characters, and here's our ranking of some of the best ones. Number 10. Rudeus Grey Rat from the anime Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. Some of you may think this is cheating since the first season of Mushoku Tensei isn't even over, but then again, Studio Bind is clearly going all out for this adaptation with a stunning setting and visual storytelling. Rudeus started out in his new world as a magically adept child, but his character acting is already interesting thanks in part to the animators and character designers. The story, specifically the light novel, is considered a pioneering isekai title alongside Sword Art Online. It helped create the tone and tropes of the modern generic isekai shows, and many are eager to see how Rudeus grows in the long run, literally and figuratively. Number 9. Adele Von Asham from the anime Didn't I Say to Make My Abilities Average in the Next Life? Can an isekai anime's light novel source material be genuine if its title isn't as wordy as this? Okay, sure, but it's always funny when they're like this. All Misato Kurihara wanted was to live an ordinary and happy life, i.e. with great lifelong friends. Yet, she left the world without fulfilling that dream. Then she got transported to a magical world and was born as Adele Von Asham. This time, she's intent on finally having that normal life. But there's a tiny problem. Adele is overpowered. Despite being thousands of times more powerful than the average human, Adele embarks on a journey to ordinary living. And it's hilarious and charming. Number 8. Yuna from the anime The Bear's Bear a Bear Kuma. Sometimes I think that a show is made simply to justify a silly title. Kuma 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 Bear is one such anime series. But I have to admit, this show has one of the most adorable and unique isekai main characters in the form of the bear costume wearing Yuna. No, the series doesn't revolutionize or subvert the genre, that's not the point. And yes, she's blessed with a stat-boosting cute armor. Yet The Bear's Bear a Bear Kuma is also just about this young girl who loves the MMORPG experience and finally gets the chance to actually live one. Number 7. Saya Ryuguin. From the anime Cautious Hero, the hero is overpowered but overly cautious. I love the premise of this comedy series. Usually an isekai starts with the main character learning just how weak they are, perhaps by tasting defeat at the hands of low-level monsters. But Saya Ryuguin is a true RPG enthusiast. Instead of trying to finish quests as fast as possible, he spends too much time training and upping his level. He also collects all the potions and supporting items he could ever need in a gaming lifetime. Yes, it's unfair to his enemies that he's too cautious, which then makes him too mighty against them. However, if you're not saving all your potions until the very final stages of the game, can you consider yourself an experienced RPG player? Number 6. Diablo from the anime How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. If you're looking for an isekai protagonist who builds his own harem and naturally experiences ecchi moments, look no further. How Not to Summon a Demon Lord introduces viewers to Takuma Sakamoto, your typical shut-in guy who spends his life playing video games. As luck would have it, he's sent to a fantasy realm and becomes the character he plays, Diablo. What's even better is that his summoners are two beautiful girls, an elf and a pantherian, basically a Neko girl, and they accidentally become his slaves. Despite his evil name, Diablo promises to break the contract. And so, you get a silly, fan service-filled story, which is sometimes all you need to enjoy your day. Number 5. Sora from the anime No Game No Life. I'm sorry if you're a fan of No Game No Life like me. It must be difficult to once again be reminded that the much-deserved second season is unlikely to arrive anytime soon. In the meantime, I'd like to recognize Sora as a top-tier main character. Sora is an amazing NEET. Yes, his life is dedicated to video games, but he's not afraid of people or social activities. So much so that he has a knack for correctly predicting how others will behave just by mere observation. On the other hand, he's extremely attached to his lolly stepsister Shiro. And that's up to you to decide if that's a good or bad thing. Number 4. Kazuto Kirigaya from the anime Sword Art Online. Sword Art Online is undoubtedly the most popular isekai series in anime history, and it's far from over with the much-awaited progressive adaptation. I'm sure that Kazuto, or Kirito, has his fair share of detractors, but his long journey has had more than a few considerably epic moments, especially in Ordinal Scale and the Alicization arc. Plus, I can't deny that the power fantasy and harem he provides is still enough to get my attention, even if they've already been overused in isekai anime at this point. Number 3. Ryuma Takebayashi from the anime By the Graces of the Gods. It's humorous that the one and only Kirito of Sword Art Online was beaten by a young boy who's meant to just relax and be happy in his new world. And this is exactly what I love about Ryuma Takebayashi. He has no desire to conquer the world, defeat the Demon King, or do the usual isekai protagonist things. Instead, Ryuma loves his rustic lifestyle and tending to his slimes, and this series soothes my stressed soul. Granted, he does join other people because of his human need for socialization, but Ryuma primarily continues a relatively easygoing and cheerful life, which he totally deserves. Number 2. Shinichi Kano from the anime Outbreak Company. Outbreak Company feels like an underrated show that needs more views and adoration. But that's far from the truth, because this series still gets into anime discussions online every now and then. What's so great about this parody series from 2013 anyways? Well, Shinichi Kano is a splendid dude. His crush rejecting him because he was an otaku led him to the path of the hikikomori, but then he decided to get a job meant for otaku. He becomes the government's promoter of otaku culture in the Eldent Empire, and the show hits out of the park with its references. And I do ship Shinichi and the half-elf maid Musil. Number 1. Haruhiro from the anime Grimgar, Ashes and Illusions. To this day, Grimgar remains to be one of the most refreshing isekai and fantasy series in anime history. The first episode alone grabbed my attention with its nuanced take on monster killing and newbie party dynamics. Haruhiro wasn't meant to lead the squad in the first place. He was just an anxious thief class member who did his best to cheer up his pals. But something happens in the series and he's thrown into the role of leader. Haruhiro stumbles in his new position and often contends with himself, questioning his value when his pals are getting invited to other parties. Yet he improves bit by bit and I can't help but root for him.